It's described as the worst storm anywhere on the planet this year. Typhoon Soudelor slammed Saipan on August 2nd with such force it paralyzed the tiny island community, leaving thousands without power and water. Hundreds waiting in line just for fuel, while others living in shelters after losing everything. Tonight, we bring you this special broadcast asking that we come together to help our neighbors in the north. Hafide, I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani. There are several ways you can help the victims of Typhoon Soudelor in Saipan. One of the fastest ways is to head on over to the Guam chapter of the American Red Cross and make a monetary donation. All you have to do is write a check and make a notation NMI disaster in the memo portion. It is as simple as that. And as you'll see in our television special tonight, they really do need our help. 48 hours after the storm, KUAM sent our reporter Baza and social media producer Andrew Roberto to Saipan to document and see firsthand the destruction left from the typhoon. In her first report, she takes a ride with LJ Castro, the spokesperson for the Emergency Operations Center in the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas.
What's the situation here on the ground in Saipan?
Well, right about now here on the ground, we're just primarily in the process of trying to, do recovery cleanup, as well as other, pertinent matters in regards to trying to get everything normal. As you've seen, as we've been driving around the island, you've noticed a whole lot of telephone poles that are down. We've seen a whole lot of trees that some of them are still blocking the roads. A lot of them were taken care of and put to the side, but there's a lot of cleanup here, as we continue to try to assess everything that happened during the storm. So we're really trying our best to make sure that everything gets back to normal as quick as we can. As you can see, if we come up at front, you can notice that there's a down ironwood tree there, which is part of part of the relief efforts that are going on. We're trying to get to all of these areas as quick as we can. So just be careful.
Should we go this way?
Yeah. That takes you down into Garapan. That one, you get a good amount of footage there, okay, because there's a lot of places got hit. In the event you need help backing up, there is a camera on the.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm just scared to drive over those power lines here.
Okay. Don't worry, they're not energized.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about, what was it like when the storm was coming? I know a lot of people weren't really expecting it to be that strong.
In my area, Finasisu, the winds were really howling the night that it hit. The power went off like a little after 9 o'clock, and then after that, it was just nothing but rain and wind. It was scary. There was a few times I woke up and I was wondering, oh my gosh, how bad is this? I had to, get out and look at from my porch to see what exactly was going on. It was crazy. So you just in that moment you kind of just want to just go back to sleep and wake up and see what happens. We did that, and there was a whole lot of destruction in the area. Our access roads were completely blocked, if not by fallen trees, then by down power poles. The main highway that was just a few blocks down the road from my house, there were like 4 or 5 power poles that were down, a few trees, parts of a house. So it was a very sad sight to see, looking at all of that.
And how did your family fare through the storm?
Well, my family did what we could to try to stay safe. Everybody lived through the storm. Fortunately there were no casualties, so we all lived through the storm. Nobody had to go to the hospital. Nobody got injured. The only thing we had to deal with was a lot of debris. You know, my house in particular, we had 3 huge mango trees that have been around forever, and they all got split down the middle. Huge parts of them fell onto the road. One part of the tree actually fell onto a little shack we had at the side of the house. So, you know, all of that, and we're still trying to pick up the pieces. You know, it's gonna be a long process before we can finally get everything all clean.
So I know it's been a really busy day there at the EOC. So I know water is a big priority. So what can you tell me about the state of utilities and what the plan is for that?
Well, we've been fortunate to have a lot of partners that have been very generous in helping us out. You know, we got to give big thank yous to the Guam Power Authority and, you know, our other partners they've been helping us from off island, FEMA in particular as well, because we do have a few portions of relief that are coming out to try to get at least water down. You know, that's an essential in life. So we're you know, waiting on some relief to help in trying to get water squared out, because we're at the point where, you know, if water isn't squared away, we're gonna have a whole lot of situations on our hands in regards to hygiene and cleanliness, and we want to just make sure that, you know, throughout the whole process we're trying to get the island back to normal, that unsanitary conditions don't send our people back to the hospital. So we're looking at that. In regards to power, as you've driven around the island, a lot of power poles are down. We had about 150 some to almost nearly 200 power poles that were knocked down, some shattered to pieces. So we are trying our best with our partners to try to get these power poles replaced. So we are doing those assessments, and with you know, a lot of help and a lot of faith, we are going to try to get things back up, because power, according to the estimates, it's going to take about, you know, almost around a month to try to get things up. So we're hoping that through other assessments that maybe the time might go down in regards to when it's going to be restored, but we're pretty confident we can get things back on track.
Yeah, and I know right now there's a $20 limit for fuel purchases, and there are still currently 500 people in the shelters here in Saipan. So, I mean, I know you must have heard some stories from friends, from family. What are some of the worst stories that you've heard, or some experiences?
Man, in regards to waiting for gas, just pretty much that everybody's been waiting in long lines. Some of the people that I know that have been in line have been telling me stories about how it seems as if the pumps aren't moving, or the pumps they're not doing anything. But I know that there are some stations here that have been very helpful in trying to get everybody in and out in an orderly manner. A few people, actually a lot of people from the lines that we've been seeing, they've actually found time to, you know, make use of their time there. So some of them have been sitting down and, you know, talking story and just trying to get through the rest of the storm, or through the rest of the process positively. But, you know, we all feel with everybody about trying to get fuel into their cars. That's the only way to get around. Some people need to get into their cars to try to fix their houses to get supplies and stuff.
Stay tuned. We'll have more from ISA and ways you can help our neighbors in the north when we return. Hafide, and welcome back to our television special, Neighbor to Neighbor. 2 days after Typhoon Soudelor hit Saipan, our reporter Isa Baza and our social media producer Andrew Roberto flew out to the CNMI. Both have families in Saipan who help provide a place for them to stay and transportation so that we could provide you our coverage. Isa continues her interview with LJ Castro, the CNMI Emergency Operations Center Public Information Officer.
As far as people's experiences during the storming, do you know anyone whose home has been destroyed or whose car was overturned?
I do have a a few friends I know that have lost their homes, and I know it because they've actually posted them on social media. Every time we've been able to access social media, trying to see how everything is going, and it's sad to see what we had to go through. I did have a few friends who've had damage, primarily just uprooted trees around their homes. Some did have damage to their vehicles, but insurance can take care of that. But if it was a loss of life, there's no way of replacing that. But it's gonna be a struggle to try to get things up. I definitely feel for them, and I feel bad that they had to go through all of that.
I know there were lines today at the mayor's offices. People are wondering what should they do, how can they find assistance from the storm. So what would be your advice to them?
My advice is to do what you can to get as much assistance as you can. I know that definitely this is a disaster zone, how things are going. So the thing, myself as well as other people keep telling the people out here is just document what happened. So that way, in the event that the time for asking for assistance comes around, you already know exactly what to present and all that. But the most important thing is to try to be patient. This is a storm that which magnitude we haven't seen in almost 3 decades. From the days of Typhoon Kim, Typhoon Pangsona, Typhoon Chaba. This is one of those storms that just comes around once in a lifetime. So the magnitude of it's hard to fathom if you haven't really lived through it. So the patience in regards to getting the services up is definitely a key, because our first responders are doing their best to get everything up and running, and some of them haven't even surveyed their homes or the damages they experienced. So it's a very harrowing process. We just have to work hand in hand to try to get everybody situated and everybody back on track, because the more help we give each other and the more help that comes around, the closer we can get to seeing through the storm, or after the storm.
And I know the CNMI asked the President Obama for $20 million. Do you think the damage is over that?
We really have to see, like was mentioned, that there are assessments still going on. So we just really need to see the full scope of it, because every person got affected by this. Even if they didn't receive it that much damage, a whole lot of people were affected by this. So we just have to really gauge to see what happens. I know that we need the help, and I'm hoping that when everything is looked at and squared out, we'll be able to get the adequate amount that we need, and everybody can have some peace of mind knowing that they're going to be taken care of.
4 days after Typhoon Soudelor hit the CNMI, President Barack Obama signed the declaration of disaster for Saipan. This immediately triggered the release of federal funds to help our neighbors to the north recover from the typhoon. Just as quickly as that declaration was signed, the military also began deploying resources. Joint Region Marianas Commander Rear Admiral Bet Bolivar flew out to Saipan to begin assessments. The USS Ashland was also deployed, as well as the Marines, who were initially scheduled to participate in a training in the area. Additionally, even prior to the storm making landfall, the Federal Emergency Management Agency was on the ground in Saipan to provide assistance. You too can help. Organizations like the Archdiocese of Agana have mobilized. Catholic parishes, schools, and organizations are collecting non-perishable food items and money to assist the victims of Typhoon Soudelor. Archbishop Anthony Apron issued a letter to all archdiocesan pastors, rectors, parochial, and school administrators urging support for our brothers and sisters in the CNMI. Contributions can be submitted to Catholic Social Services. Checks should be made payable to Catholic Social Services with a note, Typhoon Soudelor Relief. As for non-perishable food items, please deliver them to Kasinan Kamlan Caridot in Hagatna from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The most essential items needed are water, rice, and other canned goods. Stay tuned. We'll have more on Typhoon Soudelor and ways you can help after this. Hafide, and welcome back to our television special, Neighbor to Neighbor. Immediately after Typhoon Soudelor hit Saipan, Guam stood ready to help. A team from the Guam Power Authority is on the ground in Saipan, as is a team from the airport. And with the lift from the Navy's HSC-25, representatives from Guam Homeland Security Office of Civil Defense are also on the ground, along with Dee Cruz, who is the Critical Infrastructure Program Coordinator. Making her way out there was Guam Homeland Security Public Affairs Officer Jenna Gamindi.
Now that you're here driving, seeing what it's like on the ground, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so straight from the airport coming to the EOC, I mean, you can really see the destruction that's all around here, and it was really kind of an eye-opener for me. You know, it's one thing to hear it, but then to actually be here and feel it again. You know, Guam has been through our own states of destruction, so we're familiar with this. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we're here, just kind of assist them through it and make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to, you know, trying to get as much as we can from this disaster.
Okay, so what exactly, I know Dee was saying that this is the first time Guam and Saipan have worked together like this during a disaster. So what is Guam's role in this situation?
Yeah, so like Dee mentioned, this is our first time actually coming here and physically helping out from Guam Homeland Security. So our role is really what we would normally do for disasters back on Guam. So I'm the public affairs officer, and I'm helping with the Emergency Operations Center for CNMI with their public information statements and their radio talk points and their interviews, and just making sure that they're getting the message out to the public the same way that we normally would with our Joint Information Center. We also have Ricky Sanchez and Dee Cruz, who are both here assisting with operations and logistics, and Dee Cruz is still assisting with public information. So we're all just trying to assist how we normally would back at our Emergency Operations Center, and really whatever they need, whatever they ask of us, we're just here to support.
I know there's been we're passing some low-hanging power poles here, but I know there are going to be a lot of boot drives in Guam, a lot of people looking to donate. So what kind of goods are helpful for people here in Saipan?
Yeah, so just actually seeing all of the destruction that's around here, it's really important that people get involved with these boot drives and these outreach programs. I know that the Office of the Governor has put out that they'll be hosting a boot drive for the next 2 Fridays, and I know that's going to be at the major intersections, ITC, Paseo, Micronesian Mall, all through those routes and Marine Drive. So it's really important that people actually lend out their hands to our brothers and sisters in our neighboring islands, because when it's time for us, then when we needed assistance, I know that Saipan did help, especially with Plum Songwa, and that was a huge destruction for us. So it's just important that people, gather all the goods that they can. If you have any canned goods or non-perishable food items that are able to be sent, clothing. I know that a lot of people lost, their homes here. So whatever you can donate and that can be shipped here, go ahead and send that as much as you can. Of course, reach out to the nonprofit organizations, the reputable ones. I know that American Red Cross is accepting monetary donations. So as long as you find a reputable nonprofit organization that you know and trust, that are assisting with CNMI, then go ahead and help out as much as you can.
Right now we're passing a water station, and there are long lines, a lot of people here lining up to get some ice and water. I know you're from Guam, but do you have any family members or any friends here in Saipan?
I don't, but I have met some people that were from Saipan that came to Guam, and to see the destruction that's going on here it's really an eye-opener for us. I mean, Saipan is not so far from Guam, so the fact that this could happen to their island, it can easily happen to ours. And this is, again, another thing that we just try to promote to community on Guam, that these types of destructions, these types of natural disasters are not far from us. They can happen very easily, and they happen here in the CNMI. So it's just a matter of being prepared, and you know, we hope that our brothers and sisters here on CNMI were prepared enough to withstand this.
Okay, so, and did you grow up in Guam? Have you experienced a lot of typhoons?
I did. I experienced a lot of the major ones, and I was a lot younger, but even now we're still experiencing them, you know, with tropical storms, tropical depressions, or typhoons. So I have seen some major ones. I was there for Pangsangwa and for Chataan and Paka.
So looking at the damage here, that since you've been driving around, I mean, does this bring back any memories of any typhoons that you've experienced in Guam?
It does, and you know, I really feel for the community here. I know that their critical infrastructures are down, power and water, and I remember during Pangsangwa, we were out of power and water for quite some time. So, you know, it's easy for us to recognize this and kind of, you know, affiliate with them. This island, the natural beauty here is much like our own. So, you know, it does bring back a lot of memories with all the down power lines and the down trees.
As you heard from Jenna, our neighbors in the north need our help. If you haven't done so already, please make a donation. Aside from making a contribution to the American Red Cross or the Catholic Church, here are other ways you can help. Bank Pacific, all branches are accepting donations of canned food, clothing, and blankets, as well as dry goods. The Bank of Guam, they are accepting cash contributions at all locations. GTA, they have a blue buckets at GTA retail stores for monetary donations. The contributions will go to support the Red Cross. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce, they are accepting dried goods such as bottled water, rice, canned food, batteries, flashlights, beddings at their office in Tamuning. The Governor's Office, they are hosting a series of boot drives along Guam's major intersections. The Guam Chamber of Commerce also helping. They're working with the Saipan Chamber of Commerce on how to help with relief. They've opened an account at Bank Pacific to assist those who would like to make cash contributions. If you're interested, please make your checks to Guam Chamber Typhoon Relief Fund and drop it off at the Guam Chamber office in Hagåtña. They will make sure that your generous contributions get into the right hands. Additionally, the office of Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. will be holding its 5th annual 5K run walk on Saturday, September 5th. Go time is at 6 a.m. This year's event is a means to raise funds in support of our neighbors in the north who are affected by Typhoon Soudelor. All proceeds of the event will be used specifically for relief efforts of the storm and collaborated through the Guam Marianas Lions Club, which of course is a nonprofit service organization that has been providing service to Guam and the region for the past 66 years. From all of us at KUAM, thanks so much for watching, and remember, we are all in this together, so please give what you can.